was inside a mysterious candy shop called the Golden Apple. Hi, how are you today, sir? My name is Eris. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Actually, I do. What do you recommend I should get for my girlfriend? Said Jim. She replies, well, we have a nice selection of traditional candy heart-shaped boxes and heart-shaped candies. But if you want my opinion, give her something special this year. Take a look at this new product called Anesidora. I guarantee she'll love it. Thank you, said Jim. It looks perfect. I'll take it. Great, thank you so much, sir. Have a nice evening. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Nell decides to buy her boyfriend some nice large chocolate bunnies. As both of them return home, Jim arrives first and wants to prepare something special for Nell. He hurries inside with his gift and puts it on the table. While he's preparing the food and room, Nell arrives, lays her purse on the floor, and says, "Hey babe, I'm home." But Jim cannot hear her over the cooking and music being played. She sees the gift on the table addressed to her. She smiles and decides to take a peek inside the box. She looks inside, but can only see darkness, like looking into a black void of emptiness. She stands confused, but notices a small note attached to the label of the box. To have the greatest night of your life, whisper, Thanatos. Nell, with curiosity and interest, whispers, Thanatos. The house darkens as the lights go off and the music. Jim goes into the dining room where Nell is and asks, Nell, is that you? I'm so glad you made it. Jim sees Nell's body in shadow with the light off. He walks up to her and sees if she's alright. When she turns around, Jim lights a match and screams like never before, as Nell's eyes are gone, replaced by a dark void. What's wrong, sweetie? Jim backs away from Nell and says, What are you? What have you done with Nell? The house lights begin to flicker on and off, revealing more of the darkness that has consumed Nell. Happy Valentine's Day, Jimmy. Nell appears right in front of Jim, grabs his neck, but Jim is determined to fight this creature that has possessed his girlfriend. He goes for the umbrella on the coat rack beside him as Nell is slowly crushing his throat. Jim bashes Nell's head and lets him go. Nell cries out, Why did you hit me, Jimmy? I thought you loved me. Oh yeah? Well, when you started crushing my throat, I figured this was gonna be a dead-end relationship, said Jim. We can do dead, Nell replied. Evil spirits began to rise and possess things in the house. Jim panics as he heads for the door, but it shuts on him. He sees the gift Nell bought for him. He looks inside and notices bunny ears moving suddenly. One of them bites Jim's finger as he smashes it to pieces against the floor. What was a night to be remembered has quickly turned into a night to stay alive. Nell summons more of these strange necromancer powers to awaken the dead that will feed upon flesh and spirit. Jim decides he must take a stand against Nell before this curse swallows us down, and then the world. He runs back inside the house and grabs the box to offer some means to fight this creature. As he begins to read the box, a tremor rips his home apart and is pulled down into a bottomless pit. He jumps out of the house just in time before it goes down. He looks up at Nell as she is distracted by wreaking havoc to the townspeople. Jim reads the label further as to notice there is something underneath the wrapping of the box itself. Tearing the wrappings of this deceiving box, Jim is surprised to see ancient symbols that appear to be Greek. He quickly runs over to his neighbor Alesia, as she is Greek herself and an expert in reading Greek symbols. Knocking very hard on the door, he yells, "Alesia, are you there?" "Yes, what is it?" Alesia said. "Thank God, I need your help. Can you translate this?" Alesia, in surprise, looks at it and asks Jim, "Where on earth did you get that?" "A new shop in town. Why? Do you have any idea what that is?" As Nell redirects her focus on Jim, she calls on more dread spirits that come out of the box. Jim immediately lets go of it as a giant figure is released from the box. A giant creature with horns atop and an axe raised about to cut Jim in half. But Alesia grabs Jim to evade the crushing blow. Jim grabs the box as both of them race out of the back of Alesia's house and into her car. What was that thing? You really need to study your Greek mythology. That was a minotaur, Alesia yells. And why do you still have that thing? Well, whatever that thing is, that possessed Nell clearly wants this box, and no doubt will need to summon more from it. Don't you know what that is, Jim? Alesia says. No. Anesidora is another word for Pandora. Wait, you're saying I just bought a box that comes directly out of Greek mythology, and I've just doomed my girlfriend to a possessive spirit? Yes. Okay. What else can you see written on the box? More Greek words, but I need you to translate for me. Let me see. When all has escaped from Pandora, call upon the last spirit, the spirit of hope, Elpis, to help. Great. Now how do we summon this Elpis? Don't you get it? When all has escaped from Pandora. From what I know, not everything has been released out of Pandora. Who sold that to you? A woman named Eris. What? Yelled Alesia and stopped the car. What is it now? Said Jim. Eris is the Greek goddess of chaos, discord, and strife. Well, how was I supposed to know that? Jeez, said Jim. Where is this shop? Alesia said. The golden apple is down the street to the right. Right there. Jim and Alesia step inside to see the shop completely empty. The shop was full of Valentine's crap. A ghostly laughter echoed through the shop when she appeared. Eris, goddess of chaos. You know, if you were really going to come back here, shouldn't you have brought a receipt? She did give you a receipt, right? Asked Alesia. No. Alesia smacked Jim over his head. Ow. Who is this? A new girlfriend, Jim. She's not my girlfriend. We just went to college together. Right, said Eris. Tell us how to call Elpis, said Alesia. You can't. Only a god or goddess like myself can. Then why don't you do it, said Jim. Eris looked at Jim, laughing. You know better than that, Jim. It's simply my nature to call upon chaos. How else can a goddess get some entertainment these days? You can always go back to your Olympus realm or wherever you gods stay these days. Much closer than you think, Jimmy, Eris whispered. You should know, Eris, that when all the world is taken over by plague, fire, and death, that there'll be no entertainment for goddesses like you. Eris no longer had a smile on her face. She drew a sword and pointed it at Alesia and said, You dare tell the goddess of chaos what to do? Actually, she kind of hinted it. Shut up, Jim, Alesia and Eris said. Eris looked into Alesia's eyes and saw something familiar. Eris laughed again, but this time saying, Very well then. As she snapped her fingers, the box started to emanate a fire-like warmth that grew and grew, and eventually a being sprang forth, a charging woman out of the box, smashing through the ceiling with the ringing sound of hope. Elpis had been summoned. Over the dark centuries that kept her dormant by this accursed power that had denied her freedom. But this was unlike any force that had been brought upon the world. The force of hope. Elpis, with a shield in hand and an ancient sword, appealed to cleanse the growing threat of Pandora over the town, until finally Elpis came face to face with Nell's possessed body. Moros, is that you? You should know your brother Morai is dead. He put up less of a fight than I hoped. Moros smiled and released Nell's body to fall into the bottomless pit. Elpis caught Nell, but when she looked up, Moros had vanished. Elpis brought back Nell to Jim and was able to revive her with the power of hope Elpis possessed. Thank you so much, said Jim. Elpis smiled, but then turned her attention to Eris. Long has it been since I have returned. Eris, what is the meaning of this play? Me? Well, I merely became bored of another century with these mortals and wanted some action, said Eris. By unleashing the box upon mankind. You won't get away with this. Actually, I think I will. Eris snapped her fingers again and vanished. Jim looked at Nell as she woke up. You're alive, said Jim, as he hugged her. Alesia, wondering in thought, why did Eris pause at that moment? Does she know me, or... Jim looked up and said, Well, today's been a day of firsts. Thank you, Alesia, for your help, said Jim. And you, Elpis. How can I repay you? Perhaps you may be of some help for me in this new century, as I am filled by curiosity and interest to know if there are yet more gods and goddesses that still live, and maybe even my bloodline kin. Well, I would have to let Alesia take that charge, as I am a novice with Greek legends. She's your woman. Wait, what? I never agreed to. Elpis grabbed Alesia. Come, Alesia, let us see what knowledge you possess. Your name means helper in Greek. Did you know that? Yes, said Alesia. Jim and Nell stood up and looked at each other and kissed. To be continued.